Good evening, folks. Welcome to another video. This one is on Law 15, which is on the throw-in. I just want to give you a couple points. I'm going to start off today with the pro tips, the down and dirty for the throw-in. First of all, the ball needs to be put back into play at the same location where the ball left play. Okay, I can't tell you how many times I've seen players running like 10 yards up the field or 15 yards up the field or 7 yards up the field, right? And they're taking an unfair advantage when you let them do this, all right? So all you do is when the ball goes out of bounds, you stand, if the ball goes out where you are looking at me, I stand even with you, all right? And then if the thrower asks where it goes, I just hold up my hand and I go, even with me. And if they want to go further, I can give them a warning, or I can say, double whistle, we're going this way, okay? If you change possession once because they don't throw it in where you say you will, they will not do that again, okay? But so many games, guys, people are taking way too much liberty. You take the throw from where the ball went out. Now, honestly, most of the time, this is not a game-critical decision, so it doesn't make that big of a deal. But what I would do is I'd listen to the opponents, and if they say something like, hey, he's like, the throw went out, or the ball went out way back there, then I'd pay more attention to it. And I'd also pay attention to it if it's egregious, like if it's way obvious. Like, guys, what are you doing? Like I said, you point, you award a throw into the other team once, because the team whose throwing it didn't throw it back in where the ball went out, they will learn very quickly. Pro tip number 2. Sometimes like parents will yell stuff. They'll be like, there's spin on the ball. And I want to yell something back like, my grandma likes the color purple. Like, who cares? It doesn't matter. The law says that the ball needs to be put into play with 2 hands from behind and over the head, okay? In other words, the ball comes from behind and over the head. Now, maybe when I'm throwing it, one hand pushes a little more so it spins a little bit. It's not that big of a deal. If you get the sense that I'm just using one hand, then you could whistle that. But because there's some spin on the ball and it's not totally dead moving through the air, doesn't really matter, okay? So don't let people upset you or throw you off your balance because there's spin on the ball. Who cares, all right? Both feet, right, need to be on the ground when the throw takes place, all right? But, I don't know about you, but I'll be watching a throw and I'll be sitting there and the throw will happen and then like I'll see one of the feet come up or something, and sometimes it's just hard to tell, like, were both feet on the ground, or did one come up, or it looked kind of weird, I'm not sure. And it's just like, sometimes it's hard to tell, even when you're staring right at it, and even when you've done like hundreds and hundreds of games. I'm like, what the heck, I'm not sure, right? So here's my pro tip for you. At the point when the ball leaves the hands, as the ball is leaving the hands, take a snapshot. At that very moment, are both feet planted on the ground? If at that moment they are, we're good to go. If at that exact moment one of the feet or both the feet are off the ground, then you have an illegal throw. Okay? So try to think of taking a snapshot at the very moment when the ball is leaving the hands. And at that moment when the throw is taking place, what are the feet doing? Okay? All right, that's pro tip number 3. Back to some nitty gritty for the throw-in. Number 1, soccer is a foot sport, so you cannot score with your hands. You can't throw the ball into the goal. Now, either your own goal or your opponent's goal, okay? So you can't score from a throw-in. Number 2, you're allowed to have both your feet or even one of your feet on the line, okay? You don't have to be behind the line. You can be standing on the line. In fact, both your feet can be totally in the field, and each of your heels can be just touching the line, and that's okay, okay? Line is okay. Line is good. Point number 3. If you have a bad throw, like you only throw it with one hand, or you like come around to the side of your head or something like that, and the ball goes into the field of play, because it's a bad throw, the possession changes and it becomes the other team's throw. Okay? Point number 4, if you never put the ball into play, like if you throw it and before the ball breaks the plane of the field, it gets blown further out, then it's a rethrow because the ball was never properly put into play. If it never entered into play, you get to do it again because it never even entered play. So it's like nothing even happened. So take it a second time. I forget what point we're on, but sometimes you'll, when the thrower throws it, and if they touch it a second time before anyone else touches it, again, this is just like the goal kick or like the corner kick, it's an IFK for the other team. You can't do a double touch. And my last point of the video, sometimes guys, you'll get a player who runs up and is like going like this, like right in front of the thrower, and you're like, dude, you idiot, what are you doing? Like, this is common knowledge. Everyone knows. You need to stay like 2 yards away from the thrower. You can't get right up in the thrower's face and be hopping around, like preventing them from putting the ball back into play. This is not basketball, okay? So before the throw is put into play, you could either talk to them, say, hey, cut it out. If they persist, you can caution them. If the ball's already been put into play and they were doing it, you could give an IFK. But normally, as soon as you see someone doing that, you just land your whistle, say like, hey buddy, settle down, get out of there, all right? And they move, all right? That's just like, guys are acting like idiots, so don't let them do that. So those are my tips on Law 15, the throwing. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next video.